Guys, DPG here, David Patrick Green, hackhollywood.com. Just finished a workout and that reminded me that I'm planning on doing a Hack Hollywood DPG fitness series, which basically will tell you how to get in the best shape with no gym, very little in the way of weights or anything like that, and also minimal time, like approximately 30 to 40 minutes a day tops, and you can really have a Hack Hollywood type of body. So let me know if that's of interest to you. But the video specifically today, and before I get to that, just remember we now have merchandise, t-shirts, Hack Hollywood t-shirts. Go to teespring.com/hackhollywood and pick up a t-shirt, support the channel, and subscribe, like, and share as much as possible if you like what I'm about to tell you. So today's video is what you as an actor can learn from watching shows like Dateline NBC or 2020, 48 Hours, but specifically Dateline, which I've been watching a lot of reruns lately because there is so much juicy goodness to be learned for actors there. So I'm gonna look at it from two perspectives. Okay, the first perspective is from an actor's perspective, which is the subjects of the actual cases. Most of these are based on disappearances and murders, etc. And then I'm also going to talk about the interviewer, which is sort of like the producer's perspective, because this will be very instructional in terms of how you look at a project, how you look at a scene, and how you should look at the material you are going to perform, but also taking the seat of the producer and trying to figure out what they might be looking for. And I'm pretty sure you can figure it almost out to a T exactly what they're looking for, and then you can give it to them. And then it really just boils down to, were you the right person for the part? So first of all, let's talk about the actor perspective. If you watch these shows, they are largely based on interviews with various subjects, right? People who maybe have been victims of a crime, people who had a loved one who was a victim of a crime, which sort of makes them a victim as well, at least an affected party. Also the law enforcement people, and you can imagine where they sit. They're trying to solve this thing. There's a lot of pressure on them. But what I find is most interesting is how the victims respond, and I think this is where an actor can really learn a lot. If you watch these interviews, you will notice that people start out almost smiling and happy because they ask them to talk about their loved one, right? What was your mother like? What was your brother like? What was your daughter like? And they're like, oh, she was so happy. She was so special. You know, she was the queen of the prom. They talk about all this amazing stuff and they're smiling, and those memories are super positive. It's almost like nothing ever happened to them. And I think there's two angles to that. First of all, they are forcing themselves to do that, and I'm sure they have been directed to do that, and this is where an actor has to learn to direct themselves. It's to not get into emotions before you need to, before they are pulled out of you. And we also don't want to show our emotions. You know, maybe on social media, people like to complain about saying how they're a victim of this, that, and the other. They want everyone to feel sorry for them, but that's generally not how people behave in real life. When something really bad happens, they're trying to hold it together. Okay, and so I think this is where the producers come in, because the victims are trying to hold it together and they're smiling and they're talking about their loved one. And of course, they're encouraged to do that. Let's try to talk about them pleasantly so that the audience, you know, isn't only exposed to your pain. They really get a sense of who this person was, because it hooks them into the story, right? What a wonderful person this was. And then they are taken away, which is very story based, right? And you can look for this in your scripts and your scenes. And so you want to try and hold it together. Even though you're talking about somebody that you've lost, you need to hold it together. You need to tell the police exactly what happened, right? You need to tell the producers exactly what happened. You can't just be, you know, on the desk with your head bawling your eyes out. That's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help tell your loved one's story. It's not going to help get them back. It's giving up. And so the producers know this, and so they keep them keeping it together. They'll smile along with them. Oh, he sounds like an amazing man. Oh, so he really was like a hero to the neighborhood kids, right? Like they all came over and he entertained them. He played with them all. And that gets the loved one saying, oh yeah, he was the best, you know? Yes, agree, 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 which is the first part of the story. This person was wonderful. Then the story turns up to what happened. So this is now the sort of climax of the story. What happened? Well, I came home one night and I heard you found the front door open. Yeah, it was forced open. So then the producer's feeding them information, right? Which is similar to you being fed information as an actor. The information is there, but you can't act on it until it actually happens, right? You can't say the door was forced open and then I found him dead inside. You haven't got to dead inside yet. So you've got to hold on to it until they sort of give it to you. So they say, so you got home and the door was forced open, right? And they make these people go through a fact by fact accounting of exactly what happened. And they don't let them get too far ahead, right? Because if you have asked the loved one what happened, they might just say, well, I got home and I found my loved one dead on the floor. But that's too quick. That isn't going to work for how a 2-hour Dateline episode works. Okay, they need you to get there when they allow you to get there. So they're going to walk through the facts one by one and make you deal with those facts so you don't jump ahead into misery and feeling sorry for yourself and grief until they want you to, until they get to that point in the story. And there's a definite script to these stories. It may follow facts, but it's scripted to look very similar to a movie. I mean, look at the format. It's 2 hours long with at least half an hour of commercials. So it's basically an hour and a half, which is the exact same length as a feature film. So you can think of these as a feature film, and you can also think of a feature film as a real life accounting of a story, of something that happened. So it's very useful for actors. So you've got this step-by-step, fact-by-fact storytelling, and this person's telling you the facts and when to deal with them. And so naturally, as you recount each fact, it affects your emotions differently. And so nothing happens until the information comes in, which is exactly what an actor should do, right? You don't get ahead of yourself. You just wait for the information to come in. You know the situation and you know what happened in the past, and you also know what you knew up until this point, but you don't jump ahead. So you have to trust yourself. You have to act like you don't know what's about to happen, because these people don't know what's going to happen. They know what happened, but they don't know what the producer or the interviewer, the host, is going to say to them. So they have to sit there and they have to wait. They have to sit on their emotions. They're there. They have access to them. You just got to give me the word, and the water spout will open. But that is basically what an actor should be doing, is waiting till the facts are brought to them and then trying to hold it together, because you have to go on. You have to take care of your family. You've got to save your kid who's kidnapped, right? You can't just go, oh my gosh, my kid's been kidnapped, I give up, right? You have to go do something. Like Liam Neeson in Taken, that's what he does. He's like, my daughter's been taken. My wife's been taken. I've got to jump into action, And that's what he does. And he goes out and he kicks ass. And it's terrible for him, but he knows that's what he has to do. So he doesn't give up. He waits till the facts come, and then he deals with them one at a time, right? And maybe at the end, when he's found them, maybe he breaks down. He's like, oh my God, I thought I'd lost you, and all of that kind of thing. But up until that point, he cannot let. Okay, guys, that is the actor's perspective, or the victim's perspective, on the Dateline kind of format, and what actors can really learn about it in their own auditioning and acting processes. Let me know what you guys think, and please answer the question above. I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, suggestions. We'll see you on the next one, which is the producer's perspective and the writer's perspective.